name is Anthony Christie. I come from a place called Waido over in East Coast, Tairāwhiti, going to Waido. We moved down to Invercargill in 1978. Where I did my high school years down in Invercargill. I started my music career down there, learning music at high school, learning the baritone, then moving up onto the euphonium. I also had to go at soprano cornet. From there on, I moved around and I heard Koutou Katoa being played at this house, and I went to go and investigate it. And Petty Hill was in there, and he asked me what I was up to, and I said, "I'll just come to have a listen to their beautiful waiata, which they were playing, which was Koutou Katoa." And things moved on from there. And he says, "I was thinking about starting a band down here." And so things moved on from there. I ended up going to the classes. At that time I was under Rick Tairo. Rick Tairo was the tutor at that stage, and he just sort of gave me the music for Koutou Katoa, Mata Mare, Ratana March, and I took those back to school and I was practicing those tunes. And eventually we ended up getting a whole heap of us. Most of it was the Hill family, which were all Arepa members, and there was quite about 7 of them, 7 of the Hill whānau. And there was some outsiders, a couple of Rongonui's, Hema Rongonui's kids, Cynthia and Malcolm Rongonui. They were some of the other outside members that came in as well. There was learning classes with us. Mano Lewis, Brian Harimati, and also Leslie Tatarangi. She was one of the other members that were starting off our classes with us at that time. And we just proceeded as time went on. There was a call for a reo to be established to hold it to Waipainamu. And at that stage, I think that the karanga came from an old Apotoro Rihita. I think he was a runanga at the time, and his name was Pai Manahi. Pai Manahi was a thing Apotoro Rihita of Te Waipainamu, based in Christchurch. It actually was originally brought up in Waido by the Te Amo whānau, and then marae was Haranui marae over in Te Rohi o Te Wairoa. And that marae was one of the first maraes Taupōtiki Wirumi Ratana visited while he was over in Wairoa. And it was so fitting that he visited there that he took Pai Manahi back with him, and Pai started his classes, and he started off getting brought up by Taupōtiki Wirumi Ratana, started bringing him into Whāo Te Katoa. And as years goes on, he became an Apotoro Rihita, and it was this call to have a reo based in Te Waipainamu. The call went back to Te Tumuaki. The Tumuaki gave us the sanction to start their classes, to start their reo, the physical reo. So there was a section in Christchurch, there was a section in Invercargill. The section in Invercargill was taken by Petty Hill. He was looking after the Invercargill section. Ngā Kua Tatarangi, he was looking after the Christchurch section. Ngā Kua Tatarangi was he was an old Omeka member from Mangakahia. He was the one in charge of looking after Christchurch. And Petty Hill, we all know, was an old Arepa member, and he was chosen to look after the Invercargill section of the reo. And we used to get together, have wānanga, and we used to have wānanga in a place called Moiraki. It's a small place on the east coast of the South Island. It's about a midway point between Invercargill and Christchurch. So we used to gather there every so often, every weekend that we could get together, and we were just hard out playing, getting our march, getting Koutou Katoa, Mata Mare, all such ready for our inauguration, which was in 1984, 8th of November 1984. Prior to that, the year before that, in 1983, the Tumuaki had come down. Tapiana Shelford was on that hikoe at that time, along with Whaimatua Anaru, Te Raunga Tairo, who was the upoko of Ngā Reo Katoa at the time. He was the upoko of Te Reo Arepa at the time. And otherwise, he was the upoko of Ngāro Katoa. Those four had come down along with Te Reo Hura. They come down to a marae in Christchurch called Tuihiwi. On the opening of the doors at the Tuihiwi marae, we were all on the side waiting for them, for the pōwhiri, and we were all dressed up in our black and whites and our instruments. On the Tomoki's opening of the door, she had a vision of seeing her mother. He seen her mother over us, and that was a bit of a toy for her, and it's how we got our name, Te Reo Te Whāo Te Katoa. Our colour, gold blazers, blue trim. The gold represents the māngai. The blue represents the veil that Te Whāo Te Katoa wore on her head. It was the veil that was the colour of her veil. And also, we have the tohu, which is the red encompassing of the federal moon. And it was only worn by our āwhinas, the ones that have this tohu. So it was fitting that Te Whāo Te Katoa was the name given to us. The TWMSB underneath here represents the Te Waipainamui Mōrehu Silver Band. So hence we are the Te Reo Te Whāo Te Katoa, and we come from Te Waipainamui, and we are the Mōrehu Silver Band from that area. We were given our inauguration on the 8th of November. We marched up behind Ngāro Katoa at the time, of the 8th of November at 2 o'clock. We didn't play. We weren't allowed to play. It sort of killed us. Well, it sort of killed us at the time because we were wanting to be part of that reo. We were so eager. We did practice so much, and a lot of us sort of felt at that time that was a bit hazy, and we were wondering why we weren't allowed to play. And Rona to our Taino explained to us until the kawanata was given in the temple. There was a time that it was our inauguration, and from that time, once the kawanata was signed and given over to the Tomoki, we were allowed to play. So up until that time, we had to wait till the kawanata was given over and up in the temepara. So we marched behind the reels without playing. We were led through the split. When we went through, we had our seats in the front where the tamariki usually sit in the temple. That was designated for us, Te Reo Te Whāo Te Katoa. And during the service of that day, the kawanata was read out pertaining to Te Reo Te Whāo Te Katoa. And from that time, after that was handed, we were allowed to play Mata Maria. And that was our first hymn we played in the temple, was Mata Maria. After the possession of the Mata Maria, we closed up inside the temple. We came outside, and around with the temple garden, there's this big star and moon garden. We planted 2 trees. One was a kōwhai tree, and the other was a tōtara tree, I think, at that time. We had the kōwhai tree, and Arepa had the tōtara tree. And those trees there are not there anymore. They've died over just over the years. But there was a significant thing that the reo Ngāro Katoa played Ratana March inside the temple grounds. It was one of the first things I've ever heard of a reo playing inside the temple grounds. And we were allowed to play there under the banner and the instructions of the boss at the time, which was Te Reo Tairo. And he gave us the okay to play Koutou Katoa, Mata Maria, and Ratana March inside the temple grounds. From then onwards, we proceeded up to the Manawal. We were let the Ngā Reo, we were at the back of the reo. Ngā Reo was in the front. They did the split up on the marae. We come through the middle. We did our split to lead all the mōrehu, Ngā Pauatahae at the time, and through the split. And from then on, we were given our certificates. And the certificates at the time was read out by Apotoro Rita Apirahama, Rapini Apirahama, Robbie Abraham. He was the one that read out the certificates, and he read out the kawanata and what it all stood for. And it sort of gave us an insight on what we were getting ourselves into. And then he gave the certificates. We were presented with our certificates, and then from then on, we were known as Ngā Reo. We were part of Ngā Reo, and we were the 7th band. And the Tomoki said at that time that when we were the 7th band, there was not to be any more reos formed. We were the last, and it referred to the days of Vihua creating this earth, creating all living things on earth. 6 days he went hard out, creating everything, and on the 7th day he rested. And hence why we're the last, because we are the last reo, and on the 7th reo, well, there's not to be any other reos to come into the hahi or into our marawatanga. And that's really it for our inauguration. We were given te toi, we were blessed with te toi. At the time, a lot of us were young, didn't know much about it, but you know, as we went on, we sort of felt more in depth and more in touch with why we got the reo, why we have that name, and yeah, why we have that name. It was a toy for us, and I'm an original member of that reo, along myself and Les that was here. There's not many of us left. Mano Lewis is another one that's still alive. Melanie Solomon, they still carry their toru. And we're just like we are the original members of the reo. And it's been us that has been supporting and just upholding that flame. It's been a hard road for us to follow. It's like anything in our marawatanga. It has its ups and downs, it has its good sides and its bad sides. And te whāo te katoa is no doubt the same. We've had our trials and tribulations, we've had the hurdles that we've had to go over, but I think in the sense itself, I think it's been our true dedication to the marawatanga that light of te whāo te katoa hasn't gone out. And I mentioned it before about the komene whānau starting the reo up in Auckland, and it was their dedication and their love for this marawatanga that we started, and they wanted to do the trip and be part of the reo. Unbeknown to us what was going to happen. At that time when Reggie approached me, that he still wanted to be a te whāia member, because he was a Omeka member. He actually started off with his uncle. You know, I'd been studying some classes at Glen Innes, and it was just music classes. It was nothing about starting a new reo up or anything. It was just music classes. These music classes I ended up having about 36 members in my music class, and we ended up starting a band up there, and we ended up just doing exactly what every other reo does. Play for whakamoemiti, glorify iho and whakamoemiti. Unbeknown to us, there were boundaries that was in place. Cooch Ho was the upoko of Omeka at the time, and he didn't want another reo started under anybody else but himself. So he decided he wanted to start Auckland and a band in Auckland, and so Reg went along. He started off his classes, and he even got the blazer. He played for one church. And he approached me, he says, "Oh bro, I'm getting my blazer today out of Kia Maia." So me being a real member of the fire, I went out and tautoko with the bro. I went out to tautoko with the bro that day, and not just to him, but all of the new members of Te Reo Omeka. And on that day, as things went along, Rich still carried on coming with the classes with me out to GI. And it was sort of unprovoked by his uncle that wasn't allowed. So in his haste, in his aroha, Reggie ended up giving his Omeka blazer back to his uncle because of that, because you know he wasn't going to be dictated to say that I can't go here, I can't go there. He still wanted to be part of us because he started with us at Glen Innes. He still wanted to be a part of that band. So he gave his blazer up, and his uncle took it. I sort of got the blame for it at that time. And that was like 99, I think it was. And at that same year, my father had some problems back home, so I ended up going back home to look after him. So I left my job at the steel mill. I still get the steel mill. And I had to leave the classes, only because of the call of my father, that he needed help. So, yeah, I went back home. I went back home to look after him. It was about 10 years. 10 years I stayed down home. I got 2 years out of my father. It was in 2001, June the 5th. He passed away. So I got 2 years out of him, picking his brain. Anything about the maramatanga I could get out of him, I got out of him. And also, he was also a good figurehead for me. So he known a bit about our maramatanga, and both of my parents were staunch morihu. My grandfather was part of the kotahitanga when it first started in 1933. He used to be an akonga, he used to go to the pā all the time. He used to be one of the players with Rātana and by his side. That was through my grandfather and grandmother. My father, he was brought up at the pā, I'm not at the pā, but he went through a few trials and tribulations before he became a akonga. My mother on the other side, who ranged from Rako Tātahi, which is over in Takapau, on the east coast. She was a staunch morihu as well. She went to the Kuru of Rātana in 1934. She did her school years there. I think was even part of the junior band at that time. And then Tony left there to work at a sanatorium over in Waipukarau, and that's where she met my father. And things got on, and they got married, and had some wonderful children brought up in the thing. At the end of the day, they were quite staunch morihu because they were brought up and they lived the maramatanga, and I think a lot of it just through faith. I think that's actually worn on myself and my brothers. Probably more myself because I'm the pōtiki of our family. My tuakana's not too shabby with the thing, but at the end of the day, my tuakana still knows when to say I in our tāwhai ripurita. Even though he's quite a physical guy, he still has that spiritual aspect of him. Okay, yeah, so that's a lot of it about where my parents and they were from, and where I was shot for the last 10 years. I went down home and I started becoming, I was an akonga, and then my father moved me up to be an apo to Wairua, and on the 2001 when he passed away, I carried on his mahi. We were like some of the new brooms in the area. There was quite a few new po that he put through, and we started up our po classes, our wānanga classes back home, and it was about like 10 years I was there, and it was just hard out with our morihu back home and getting them on the same wavelength and getting them up to speed with our maramatanga. And all of a sudden, what brought me back to Auckland is I came back one Christmas and was hoping to have Christmas with my big brother, and unbeknownst to me that he was in hospital. He stubbed his toe, being a diabetic. He ended up starting losing his limbs, so I ended up coming back to look after him, being a bit of a caregiver and just make sure he didn't go off the beaten track. And I made a text to one of my old phone back up here, was named Reg Corney, and I sort of texted him and we sort of got back together. And then all of a sudden we started on about the deal, and he wanted to be and we roughed it out. We thought it hard and fast on how we could get this deal going. At that time, my solution was that we go down south. We go down south, be part of the people down there, and we can get it ordained down there, and everything will be all right. So I made a call down to Mano. Mano says, we need some members. Mano Lewis, because he'd been wearing the gold blazer by himself for quite a few years, and it was the talk of ngā reo katoa, the upoko of ngā reo, that always moaned about, how come there's only one player there, 2 players here, and so it was his call to say, he wanted some players, and they were short on members. So at the end of the day, it was the Komene family that he did to their call, so I took them down south, and we joined up with the committee hāhi down there of Inkago, and I nominated them as real members of the Whānau Katoa down there, and they were given their certificates down there as well, and we got the OK from our upoko, which was Piri Hill at the time, and Piri gave us the sanction. Reg asked, can my family come down there, be part of your family? And the answer was yes. Yes, you can come down here, be part of our family. And from then on, things have escalated now, and we've got about most of it's actually Reg's whānau, myself, and 3 of the Phillips whānau from Joe and Maud, Tamariki, that have joined the reo as well. young James Tittle is probably another outsider. But at the end of the day, we were all related and we all did the same yards. I took them down south, became part of that mahi down there of the committee hahi. They joined the reo, got their certificates down there, and now we are represented up in Auckland, and we approached the 25th, not 25th, 2012, January the 25th, we went to a band Masters Hui at the Ratanapa in the Tari. Our upoko at the time, Piri Hill, approached ngā reo, upoko, and he questioned, he asked them, I've got some members up in Auckland, and there's some people up there that want to join the whāoti katoa. Do you people have a problem with it? And the call at that time was no. None of them had a problem with anybody in Auckland wanting to join the whāoti katoa. So from that day on, the reo has escalated, and now we're quite in bigger numbers. It's still growing. It's still growing in numbers. And at the end of the day, I have to thank Iwa o ngā mano for making everything happen. And fulfilling those fruits that we see now is all for our love of the māramatanga and of Iwa, I guess. And I'm going to thank the comedy family for taking that on board and starting us off, starting the reo off in Auckland, and then getting more players from his own family, from his sister's family, the Savages, the Savage whānau, and then we just escalated and just more members keep coming and keep coming. And now we're on Facebook. We have our own site on Facebook, and we converse with everybody around the motu. And you know, there's people that are online that are joining us all the time, and they think we've got a wonderful page. And the funny thing about it now, how our band's escalated for a lot of our old members, was the falling of the old upoko. Once our Piri Hill had passed away, it sort of started that seed of our old members wanting to come back in. We have members from Wellington, Gina Thompson, which is Machi Thompson's Tamihana's daughter, Machi's mokos, two mokos, Talia and Tama, wanting to come on board as well. And it's just set a precedent for all our old members to come back. Piri's brother was one from Invercargill who's come back. One of Ngā Kota Tarangi's daughters, she's come back into the reo as well, Wiki. She was one of our ex-Tron players, and now she's come back into the realm again. So initially over the years, from the time, I guess it's been prophesied that this reo will get bigger. Maybe because it's the tūranga that we carry, or the love that we have for our māramatanga. But yeah, it's really about it that I can think of at this time, at this stage. That's about it. And I think from now on, you know, our reo, as it's growing, our members are learning a lot about our māramatanga. You know, it's just the fruits that are starting to bloom. And you know, our old people back in the old days, it planted that seed for us. Now we've seen the fruits of it. Yeah, now we've seen the fruits of it, and I think it's a wonderful thing. You know, that our people set their precedent back then of sowing that seed for us, and knowing very well that, you know, with our love of our māramatanga, that we're going to see a lot more of these fruits. And for myself, yeah, I see a lot of it now. I see a lot of those fruits happening now with our new members that are coming forth, and our māramatanga is moving forward as well. Yeah, the fruits of our labours slowly getting shown now, and I think it's real awesome. And I think our māramatanga was chosen. The Māori people are lucky that on the 8th of November 1918, Wairua Tapu had come and stayed this beautiful māramatanga on us, in the form to giving it to Taupōtiki Wirungu Rātana, who became the mouthpiece for Iwa, and our Māori people being the footstool for Iwa as well. And yeah, it's a real big it's a real big thing for us, and yeah, I just hope our Māori people don't go off the trick, and I'd like them, just as long as we maintain their love and their dedication, our whakapono, our faith, their faith, our one faith, to ihoa, and yeah, I think everything will just run along just fine. Yeah, that's how I have rotinga malaki tanga o tātou ariki. Wanga hei te toko mai o ania kini ai. Kia ora.
Thank you.